Tonight, gale force winds wreak havoc across the region with the power wiped out in Port Lincoln, and Port Augusta loses a $500 million renewable energy project.
From our 7 Spencer Golf Studios, your nightly news with Casey Treelaw begins now.
Good evening. Port Lincoln was plunged into darkness this afternoon with electricity shut off by SA Power Networks to limit the potential of fires starting from possible falling power lines. Gale force winds have battered the region all day, with dust storms severely impacting visibility on our roads, making for dangerous driving conditions. Nathan Rector filed this report in the midst of the storm this afternoon.
It's been some of the worst conditions in years, wind gusts reaching up to 95 kilometres an hour, with dust blanketing the sky. Piercing hot and dry wind blowing across much of the region, with the CFS upgrading their fire danger rating to catastrophic. SA Power Networks also disconnecting supply to Port Lincoln at around 1:15 this afternoon, in their efforts to limit the possibility of a fallen power line sparking a fire.
There's legislation put in place which allows us to do this, where we believe we can protect people and property and avoid a bushfire.
With around 14,000 people on the Eyre Peninsula losing power.
I'm sure the people of Port Lincoln would rather have perhaps a couple of hour outage than see a major bushfire in the kind of conditions they're experiencing at the moment.
Authorities urging people to take care when driving.
You just cannot move. The cars are all pulled up on the side of the road, and it's the worst dust storm I have ever seen.
The Augusta Highway shutting down this afternoon due to limited visibility.
The raised dust that's around, visibility is shocking on probably all the highways.
And SES crews were pushed to their limits with fallen tree branches scattered across the roads. The CFS advising everyone to remain cautious in the conditions, which could spark catastrophic fire danger.
With this sort of wind, anything starts, it could travel very, very quickly, especially with the dry conditions we're experiencing.
Power's just been restored here as the wind starts to die down, leaving behind a trail of branches and trees skewed across the town. Authorities are warning residents to stay safe and to be vigilant when outside.
Members of the Port Augusta community are in shock tonight after receiving confirmation that plans to build a multi-million-dollar solar thermal plant has collapsed. It's understood Solar Reserve's plans failed after failing to reach financial closure.
It was the dream to shape Port Augusta's transition from a life of coal-fired power to renewables. But plans for this solar thermal project have now run out of steam.
I wanted them to be successful. I wanted them to have every opportunity, but they've told us that they can't deliver.
The $650 million project falling flat on its feet after Solar Reserve advised the state government it would be unable to reach financial closure by the May 31 deadline.
This is incredibly disappointing news for South Australia.
The Aurora project was announced in 2017 by the previous state government and was set to enter into a 20-year deal to supply the government's energy needs from 2020, but since then has suffered blow after blow, struggling to meet financial deadlines.
It's not an easy thing to do. We've given them every opportunity that we could.
Repower Port Augusta says the decision will create major economic uncertainty in town, with the plant promising over 650 jobs during construction, as well as 50 permanent positions.
People in the community had planned to get jobs at the project, local businesses had planned to get work through the project.
The local community shocked by the collapse of the proposed power station.
It's going to bugger things up a bit, isn't it?
It was like a breath of fresh air for the area.
People in the Port Augusta community are going to be hurting a lot. This was a beacon of hope.
The state government's energy contract will now go out to tender, but it may not mean the end of a solar thermal plant in Port Augusta, with Solar Reserve indicating to the Energy Minister they may look to sell their assets to another party.
Then whoever might buy those things from them would be very, very welcome to bid into our new market process.
Hopefully someone else might pick up the project and carry it through.
Garth Burley, 7 Spencer Golf News.
The Menindee region has gained a strong voice on water issues, with the Murray-Darling Basin Authority appointing a new engagement officer. After meeting with frustrated locals in the wake of mass fish deaths around the township, the authority has created the role for an initial 6 months. The position will allow direct feedback to be given to the governing body about concerns relating to the local area. There are now 8 engagement officers across the basin, spanning 4 states. Whyalla MP Eddie Hughes is calling for security guards at the local hospital following a spate of violent incidents involving patients. He says some patients who have been under the influence of drugs and alcohol have put the safety of health professionals at risk.
It's a nightmare of a situation. A drug or alcohol-affected patient causing a violent episode in A&E puts the lives of patients, doctors and nurses at risk. For staff at Whyalla Hospital, that situation is a regular reality.
Do involve people going completely off and threatening the staff, and staff feeling physically in danger.
Mr. Hughes says he receives numerous calls from distressed staff and their families. 7 Spencer Gulf News understands some situations have involved weapons, including knives. He's written to Health Minister Stephen Wade, demanding security guards be placed in the local A&E department.
The department and the hospital have got an obligation to provide a safe working environment.
The Nurses Union has blasted the health department, saying it's dragging its feet on a solution.
Made it really clear that unless they do start to act more urgently, then some of their chief executives are going to be at risk legally.
Health Minister Stephen Wade declined an on-camera interview. He did release a statement, however, saying staff are being continually trained to de-escalate violent situations. He also says security is reviewed annually based on an assessment risk. But Mr. Bonner says they don't need any further diagnosis, calling for urgent action.
You feel that management of the organisation is not acting in every way possible to keep you safe, then it affects morale.
John Hunt, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
The Department of Defence has told 7 Spencer Gulf News a plane circling over Broken Hill on Wednesday is nothing to be concerned about. Locals may have spotted an aircraft doing flyovers around the Silver City around 10 o'clock. The department said a CL-604 Challenger plane was conducting training from the Canberra airport. Training tasks like these allow aircrew to develop their skill sets in planning and operating missions. Regional airports like Broken Hill may be used depending on the type of training. Still to come tonight, one of the state's most dangerous highways finally set for major upgrades, and why the troubled Lucky Bay Ferry might not be so lucky. Hello again. The Horrocks Highway is set to receive a long-awaited upgrade thanks to a $44 million commitment in the federal budget. The RAA says the major road is one of the most dangerous highways in the state.
The Horrocks Highway to hell. A notorious 290-kilometre stretch of road soon to become a lot safer.
Well, we've got $44 million from the federal government for upgrade to the Horrocks Highway.
The road has been voted as one of the most dangerous highways in the state by RAA members. With 87 crashes, 3 serious injuries and 5 roadside fatalities last year. Its undulating and patched surface has been a nightmare for commuters travelling between the city and the Clare Valley-Wyong region.
It's pretty rough, and of course it's leading from Adelaide to one of the major tourist destinations in the state.
Local member Jeff Brock has been lobbying for the upgrade for years and is now relieved to see the federal and state government finally get on board.
Look, I want to pay tribute to Stephen Knoll, the State Minister for Infrastructure. I know that I've been pushing him for the last 12 months since he's been in the government.
However, the total estimated cost to upgrade the highway stands at $55 million. Mr Brock now calling on the State Transport Minister to allocate the additional $11 million to get the road up to scratch.
The state government haven't allocated the other $11 million. Now, I've spoken to the Minister. I know that he's already told me it's $55 million total.
A date has yet to be announced for the planned construction. Dominic Beaton, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Operations to get the Lucky Bay Ferry up and running has hit a snag, with organisers blaming political turmoil in Venezuela. The passage closed in May 2017 due to the port being under construction. A 10-year lease for the ferry, named the Aurora, had been signed with a Venezuelan company. However, protests in the country have made it impossible for travel clearance to be gained. It means a date for the restoration of services is unknown. Residents and visitors at Farm Beach will finally have mobile phone reception with the installation of a new transmission tower. The popular beach site is part of round 2 of the federal government's mobile black spot program, the tower providing coverage across 54 square kilometres, reaching more than 170 homes. Officials announcing last month a further 29 locations in SA will be connected, including Baird Bay and Barkleyboo on the Eyre Peninsula. Port Pirie's Sport Precinct has again found itself in the limelight after winning a prestigious South Australian Cricket Award. The Oval now named the Community Facility Project of the Year.
Port Pirie Memorial Oval has gone and hit a 6, gaining statewide recognition for its A-class facilities.
Port Pirie Regional Council has been awarded the South Australian Cricket Association Community Project of the Year for the Port Pirie Sports Precinct.
The Oval is being acknowledged for its increase in use by unrepresented groups and the ability to provide an enhanced experience.
The impact that the facility would have on the community and the various features and standards that the facility was built to.
Project manager Jeff Adams has overseen the construction of the facility from the ground up, and he couldn't be prouder to see it gain the recognition it deserves.
I was glad it did, because it just sort of shored up the comments that had already been made about it, that it was one of the best in Australia.
The JLT Showdown was also an opportunity to showcase the facility to sporting group leaders across the state.
Talking to different groups that come from out of town, you talk to SACA, Cricket Australia, the AFL and Baseball SA, they glowing reports.
Dominic Beaton, 7 Spencer Golf News.
30 students from Port Augusta Secondary School have helped launch this year's Polly Farmer Foundation, which offers support to Indigenous learners. The program is open to students in years 8 to 12, providing after-school tutoring as well as opportunities to explore new experiences.
We're about setting up and giving the students every single opportunity that we can to follow and live their dreams for their careers.
Last year, 69% of graduates from programs across the country went directly into either university, TAFE or an apprenticeship. Broken Hill swimmers will be without 2 of their pools, with the Regional Aquatic Centre undergoing extensive maintenance. The facility's 25-metre and hydrotherapy pools will be closed to the public from Monday week to the end of April. The maintenance work includes repairing handrails, replacing lights and sealing the underground holding tanks. Locals will still be able to use the 50-metre outdoor pool until the work is complete. Stay with us after the break, a look into the opening round of football in Whyalla, and we'll have the weekend weather details with Britt. Welcome back. Whyalla football returns this weekend with 6 clubs vying for the premiership. For 3 of them, winning this year would be extra special, with Norths, Souths and Centrals each celebrating their 100th birthday.
Founded in 1919, South is nearly as old as Whyalla itself. It's a club that survived through the city's ups and downs, becoming part of the community fabric.
Particularly in country and regional and rural areas, I mean, football clubs are a real foundation of communities.
Norths and Centrals were also founded in the same year. Together, the 3 will celebrate 100 years this season, with celebrations planned for the June long weekend. Central's coach Mark Turner says the atmosphere at the club has a little extra spark this year.
We've got a whole group of ex-juniors and ex-players who will come back and around, and really starting to create a positive vibe around the club.
North's expected to be one of the premiership favourites, with footy royalty in its DNA. SA legend Neil Curley coached the team to flags in the 50s, while former Crow Rob Shirley and the state's greatest ever footballer Barry Robran began their careers with the Magpies.
Yeah, very proud of that, and Barry Robran will be here on the night. At this stage we're not quite sure about Neil Curley. Robbie Shirley will be here, and we're having like a on the couch theme and interviewing the some of the older players.
This year's festivities lead into next year's big event, the 100th year of the Whyalla Football League. President Jack Veldhuizen says the next 24 months will be a great celebration of the game's regional history.
Celebrations planned on the long weekend, which is brilliant. Some really stars coming up, so it's really great.
John Hunt, 7 Spencer Golf News.
And here's Whyalla's local footy expert on what to expect this weekend.
2019 of Whyalla football, grand final rematch on Saturday at Bennett Oval. It's West Whyalla versus Roona Bay. As always, no pre-season form to go on, so we'll stick with the reigning premiers and West to win. Saturday's game at Memorial Oval, it's North Whyalla versus South Whyalla, the other finalists from last year. These two clubs, along with Central Whyalla, are celebrating 100 years in Whyalla football, so good luck to them. But I think the Magpies have recruited well and they should be too strong. And Sunday's game at Bennett Oval, it's Rapina versus Central Whyalla. Like North, Centrals have recruited well, and I think Centrals will get themselves off to a winning start.
And time to take a look at what's happening in the weekend's weather. Here's Britt.
Thanks, Casey. As mentioned earlier in the bulletin, it's been a day of wild weather with wind speeds at Port Lincoln reaching over 75 kilometres an hour this afternoon. Port Augusta reached a top of 35 degrees today, Whyalla 36, Port Lincoln 33, Broken Hill 32, Port Pirie 34 and Adelaide 33. Today's winds were caused by a low pressure trough and a gusty cold front moving east. We can see the jet stream cloud in these satellite pictures. Tomorrow, a weakening ridge of high pressure will extend over the Gulf. On the waters, southwesterly winds at 15 to 20 kilometres an hour, with swells at 2.5 metres. Sunrise is due at 7:34 in the morning, with sunset at 7:10 tomorrow night. Milder conditions expected tomorrow, remaining fine over most parts. Port Augusta sunny and 27, Whyalla mostly sunny and 23, Port Lincoln 21, Coffin Bay 19, Woodnut 24 degrees with patchy fog about in the early morning, Corn 27, a top of 29 at Broken Hill with a sunny day ahead, Port Pirie cloud clearing with a max of 25, Clare, Cleve and Kadina all 23, Adelaide 22. Port Lincoln, partly cloudy on Sunday with a very slight chance of shower, 20 degrees the top. Monday, cloudy and 22, Tuesday 19. Cleve also cooling down into next week. Sunday, partly cloudy with a top of 24 degrees. Some patchy morning fog expected. Monday, partly cloudy and 23, Tuesday 19. Woodnut, a partly cloudy Sunday, 26 degrees. Monday, partly cloudy and 25, Tuesday 23. A sunny day for Whyalla on Sunday with a max of 27 degrees. Monday looking mostly sunny and 26. Tuesday partly cloudy with a slight chance of showers, a top of 21 degrees. Port Augusta 30 on Sunday, bright and sunny. Monday sunny and 28. Tuesday partly cloudy and 22. Kadina with a slight chance of showers on Sunday, otherwise partly cloudy with a top of 24 degrees. Monday with similar conditions, Tuesday fine and partly cloudy, looking at a top of 21. Sunny conditions expected at Port Pirie on Sunday with a maximum of 26 degrees. Monday a slight chance of a shower but a mostly sunny day, looking at a top of 25 degrees. Tuesday partly cloudy and 23. Clare mostly sunny and 24 on Sunday. Monday partly cloudy and 22. Tuesday 19. And finally, Broken Hill sunny with a top of 32 on Sunday. Monday sunny with light winds, a top of 29 degrees. And Tuesday mostly sunny with a top of 23. And Casey, that's it for me for this week. I'll see you again on Monday.
Thanks for that, Britt. And that's the local news this Friday evening. Thanks for joining us. I'll have updates later. Until then, enjoy your evening. Good night.